Today on KUJH, Governor Laura Kelly introduces a bill that will eliminate the state sales tax on food.
The Association of American Universities approved a new set of principles aimed at preventing sexual harassment.
And Kansas basketball regular season tips off. All this and more today on KUJH.
Live from the studio in Stauffer Flint at the University of Kansas, you're watching KUJH News.
Good afternoon and welcome back to KUJH. I'm Ryan Butler.
And I'm Dre Bradley.
Governor Laura Kelly announced she will introduce a bill that will eliminate the state sales tax on food. The bill will aim to, quote, axe the food tax. Kelly will join State Attorney Derek Schmidt, who is urging his GOP colleagues to do the same. In her announcement, Kelly said a family of four will save $500 on average on groceries every year. Supporters of the bill say eliminating the tax helps to lessen the impact of income inequality by allowing lower-income people to spend smaller share on their other income on groceries. Kansas is one of 7 states that currently has a sales tax on groceries. The Axe the Tax bill comes as prices for food are facing inflation from the year prior. According to an October update from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the Consumer Price Index for food in September is 5.4 percentage points higher than the year before and continues to rise in the months following.
Thanksgiving is only weeks away, meaning people are starting to buy those holiday favorites. But some classic food items might be harder to find this year because of the pandemic. Madison Osberger-Lowe has the details.
That's right. This food shortage is a problem a lot of people might see while shopping for food this Thanksgiving. Even here in Lawrence, it's a supply and demand issue, and some people might see an increase in price for holiday items, just like turkey. This Thanksgiving, your dinner plate might look a little smaller than in past years. But that's not all. It could also be a more expensive one. This is causing one expert in the meat industry to start her turkey preparations early.
For Thanksgiving, we had to order our turkeys back in June so that we would hopefully have enough for everybody for the supply and demand of Thanksgiving.
A lot has changed since the start of the pandemic. For some people, this includes our eating habits.
Demand for food goes up because we are eating less outside, we are eating more at home.
And it has also impacted local businesses and nonprofits across Lawrence, just like food pantries.
We cannot currently order soup from them. We cannot order pork and beans or any of the canned legumes. We cannot get corn. Why can't we get corn? I can't imagine.
So, if you are stocking up for Thanksgiving, be sure to shop locally and early. And know that there may be an increase in price this season for your turkey dinners.
The Association of American Universities approved a new set of principles aimed at preventing sexual harassment in academia. The 8 principles focus on creating a community free from sexual misconduct and preventing, quote, retaliation for reporting such misconduct or participating in the process to address it, end quote. The principles were created by the AAU's Advisory Board on Sexual Harassment, which is made up of 20 member universities and co-chaired by KU Chancellor Douglas Girod. In a press release from the AAU, Girod said the board took a deeply deliberative and informed process to create these principles. SAPEC Director Jen Brockman said that while KU has procedures in place to address sexual assault as well as prevention education, there also needs to be transparency in those procedures as well.
If all of these systems are in place, but they're not known, accessible, and reviewable by our community, by our students, then their ability to do what they are created to do, which is to address sexual misconduct, is hindered.
Any student that experiences sexual misconduct of any kind can refer to any of the available resources on campus and in the community. Built in 1903, Douglas County's historic courthouse is getting some long overdue and much needed renovations. I was able to speak with Jay Zimmershed, the Director of Capital Projects, to hear more about it. A preservation plan for the Douglas County Courthouse has been in place since 2006. The next phase of restoration begins soon.
In 1903, when they built buildings, they didn't waterproof foundations. They just stacked up stones and kept stacking up stones until they got to the top. And so there's really no waterproofing on the outside of this building below grade, and that's what this project specifically is looking at correcting.
This waterproofing repair project comes as one of the first renovations in years for the courthouse.
There has been some limited remodel done to the project over its life, although most of that predates me, and I mean me. I think there was a renovation done in the 70s, early 70s.
The plan is confirmed after county commissioners unanimously voted on it, but the timeline for the project has not been set yet.
We're estimating that we will be under construction with this work late spring, early summer of next year. And that we will be complete before the end of next year.
If the courthouse finishes the project in a reasonable time frame, they hope to begin work on some of the other parts needing repair.
The Courthouse Preservation Plan hopes to continue repairs and renovations in future phases.
After the break, we'll take a look at the new exhibit and renovations at the Spencer Art Museum.
And the audio reader celebrates its 50th anniversary. Stay tuned.
No one takes drugs expecting to become addicted. You should know that addiction can happen to anyone because it's a disease of the brain. That also means recovery is possible. Addiction doesn't have to be permanent, and the state of Kansas is ready to assist you in every step of the way. Visit findtreatment.gov or call the Kansas Substance Abuse Referral Line at 866-645-8216.
The Spencer Museum of Art is adding a study center as part of its ongoing renovations.
That's right, Ryan. I was not able to see construction, but I did interview some people involved in the project. Take a look. One of the major projects of the Spencer Museum of Art's Phase 2 renovations is the Ingrid and J.K. Lee Study Center. Silka Strawn, who joined the museum in 2009, explained the use of the future space.
It will be a space that we can bring out a wider variety of works, but also allow us to accommodate the many, many requests that we get, particularly from KU instructors and students to learn with, study, research works in the collection.
Getting funding was difficult, but team leader Chris Erkums overcame the challenge.
Luckily, we were able to leverage a substantial grant from the National Endowment for Humanities, which began Phase 2, and use that. That was very important for helping to secure further funding for the Lee Study Center.
The Lee Study Center will showcase art similar to the Stephen H. Goddard Study Center on the first floor of the museum.
We bring out works, and we may bring out an array of works and completely kind of transform it once, twice, maximum 3 times a day, depending on the requests and the volume, which is why we want the new Lee Study Center.
Erkums expects the study center to have a huge impact.
Well, the study center is going to be a wonderful hybrid experiment of a study center and a gallery, so it's going to be able to bring out large works from the collection that we aren't always able to share. Not only with student populations, but with educators from around the state, and also the local Lawrence community.
The study center is expected to open fall 2022. For any updates, check out spencerart.ku.edu.
Aside from the study center, we also have an update from reporter Keegan Hewitt on the new exhibit in the Spencer Art Museum.
Yes, Dre and Ryan, I'm here at the Spencer Art Museum, where I also had the opportunity to talk to Chris Erkums. But instead of talking about the new study center, he showed me the new debut exhibit they've opened on their first floor, right inside their lobby off of Mississippi Street. Take a look.
So this was a thought that I had to kind of get out works that had never before been exhibited and put them together with some of our more well-known works that we use in research and teaching to create new conversations.
This new exhibit will feature pieces of art from all over the world, including themes such as womanhood, global currents, and landscapes. But building and bringing this exhibit together was no easy task for Erkums.
At times, the museum was closed, and so I was not able to access the actual works. Even though we had photographs of them, and we have measurements, it doesn't replace actually seeing the actual works.
And with the help of 10 graduate assistants, the debut exhibit was officially able to be completed after finishing extensive research on the biography and themes of these artworks. This now allows the staff at the museum to have every piece of work labeled so viewers can understand exactly what they're looking at.
Erkums also tells me they'll plan on having the debut exhibit open to the community until next year when the study center is officially available to students. Right here outside at the Spencer Art Museum for KUJH News, this is Keegan Hewitt. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Keegan. The audio reader recently celebrated its 50th year anniversary here on the KU campus.
The audio reader, an on-campus radio station that reads local news for people who are blind, visually impaired, or print disabled on the air for free, celebrated 50 years of service last Friday. The event, held at Abe and Jake's Landing, featured several guest speakers, including Oscar-winning KU professor Kevin Wilmot. The audio reader made its first broadcast under Kansas Public Radio on October 11, 1971. Today, listeners can tune in through a variety of ways, including Amazon's Alexa. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the audio reader became more than just an information service.
So people were turning to us for entertainment and for information, much more so during the year and a half of the COVID, or the year of the COVID lockdown than they had before.
I'll read the next one then.
While other news outlets are offering options to read news articles out loud to readers, Kessinger said there is still a need for the audio reader for people who can't afford accessible equipment or cannot use technology to access that content.
So we are there, providing this information so that people don't have to, struggle, and they can keep in touch with what's going on in their community.
If you or someone you know is in need of service, you can call the audio reader at 785-864-4600 for more information on how to access this free service. Fall is officially here. Reporter Emily Johnson is joining us live with an update on the dangers of driving at dusk.
Romance is in the air, and no, it's not February just yet. It's deer breeding season. This means that driving at certain times of the day may be even more dangerous.
Hello everyone, my name is Halen Wohai here with your weather forecast for this evening. A couple of the headlines I'm going to be talking about today. We've got scattered showers and thunderstorms making its way into the area today, as well as into tonight as well. But looking ahead afterwards, we're going to see temperatures really start to get a little bit more on that chillier side, and looking ahead possibly a possible flurry making its way into Sunday afternoon. But we're going to focus on today's forecast as we have a little bit happening today. We've got scattered showers and thunderstorms going to be making its way into the area later on this evening, and we're going to be at a high of 64 degrees today. Precipitation chance at about 80% with an easterly wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. And here's what Futurecast models are going to be showing us is this pretty complex system going to be pushing on through this afternoon and evening. We'll continue to see it's a cold front that's going to be continuing to push on forward, and along with that cold front, that's why we're seeing quite the bit of a line of scattered showers and thunderstorms. Could bring some quite the heavier pockets of rainfall to some areas. But so far, not seeing too much of the severe risk, as so far we're in the Lawrence region in that mostly general severe thunderstorm risk, while the marginal risk is more to our south and southern parts of Kansas. So the only main threats we would be seeing tonight is pretty locally heavy rainfall and some frequent lightning. So we'll continue to see those scattered showers and thunderstorms hanging around for much of the evening, especially around between 5 to 7 o'clock tonight. And by 9 o'clock, we'll finally see that cold front pushing on through, and we should be hopefully clearing out a little bit once we get to 11 p.m., but still holding on to 60 degrees by 5 p.m. and then breaking back down into those lower 50s for tonight, and eventually bottoming out at a low of 41 degrees with still just a couple of lingering showers and thunderstorms in those early morning hours, but with that precipitation chance still at about 60%, but going to be really seeing those winds start to shift, blowing from the northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour and even gusts up to 25 miles per hour. And Going to be pretty breezy looking ahead into tomorrow with temperatures reaching up to a high of 55 degrees. Still a little bit more on that mild side, but as I mentioned before, we get a little bit of breezy winds in there with those westerly going to be shifting from the northwest to the west and still blowing at about 10 to 15 miles per hour and even still gusts up to 20 miles per hour. And we're going to still continue to work with that wind even more for Friday, and we got to be worrying about that wind chill as temperature is going to be feeling a little bit more like in those lower 30s for Friday afternoon. And take a look at this for Saturday morning, going to be feeling like in those lower 20s for Saturday morning. So you definitely want to put on those heavier coats, those gloves and hats. It's going to feel really brisk out there, and we're going to continue to stay a little bit more on the chillier side for the weekend, and still looking at the possibility of seeing just ever so slight possibility of seeing a flurry try to make its way into the forecast for Sunday afternoon, but some models keep wanting to point it either up north or try to make it back down into the Lawrence region, but we're still going to keep a very close eye on this as that system will continue to track near our area for Sunday afternoon, but still looking to stay relatively dry on after Wednesday, but still holding on to that 80% chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms for Wednesday. And then by Thursday, going to start really seeing those temperatures start to get lower and lower, and we'll finally be at our low of 45 or high of 45 degrees on Friday. Still got to work with that wind chill, and we're going to see that low of 29 degrees, certainly below freezing at that point. As before, still want to wear those heavier coats as we'll have that wind chill, making it feel like in those lower 20s in those early morning hours, and still pretty on the cool side for the weekend. Try to climb back up into those lower 50s for Sunday, and we'll teeter back and forth between those upper 40s and lower to mid 50s going into next week, but still looking to stay relatively more on the dry side going into next week.
Thunderstorm watch until 8 p.m. tonight. Make sure to stay posted on potential weather threats.
After the break, Lane Gillespie will have the latest on KU Sports.
A lot of our waste ends up discarded in the environment, causing pollution, but we can help to reduce this pollution by recycling. There are many recycling bins on KU's campus. And when you're not on campus, take advantage of these bins offered in many retail stores. You should also try to reduce your use of plastic by using these refillable water jugs. Our actions have a huge impact on the environment, so make sure to do your part to keep it clean.
Welcome back. The Kansas basketball regular season is finally underway. Let's send it to Lane Gillespie with more.
Thanks, guys. Welcome to KUJH Sports. Start spreading the news because the college basketball season is back, and the men's basketball team had a strong start last night in New York City. Let's jump into the highlights. 9 minutes left in the first half. Tied game at 19. Christian Brown with the steal and the jam gives Kansas the lead. He finished with 6 points. He also had a couple of dimes, just like this one that you're about to see. A nice little lob. Guess who's coming out of the corner? It's Ochai to start off the second half. And not even 30 seconds later, here comes Ochai with a steal and a jam of his own, something that you could call a turnover into a touchdown. That forced Michigan State to call timeout. Later in the second half, here's Ochai with a transition three. He had 3 of those in that game last night. How about another lob from Brown to Ochai? Agbaji finished with a career-high 29 points. Yeah, that'll make your bench happy. David McCormick also had a pretty good game with a nice little follow jam there. He finished with 10 points. Also a couple of blocks just like this one. SportsCenter top 10 material as he completely voids the dunk attempt by Michigan State. 4.5 minutes left. This was the nail in the coffin. Agbaji off the feed from DeJuan Harris off the inbound. Kansas won 87-74 to start their season 1-0. They return Friday for their home opener against Tarleton State. The men's basketball team had a strong start last night. Now the women's basketball team is looking to start off hot tonight in their season opener. The Jayhawks are looking to bounce back after finishing 7-18 last season. It'll help that KU is returning 4 starters, including junior guard Holly Kerskeeter, who was named in the preseason All-Big 12 first team. They also bring back their leading rebounder, Ioana Katzilianti, and their leading passer, Zakiya Franklin. The team tips off at Allen Fieldhouse tonight at 7 p.m. against SIU Edwardsville. Kansas football was back at home on Saturday for the Sunflower Showdown against the Kansas State Wildcats. However, a couple of key injuries stung more than the loss. Head coach Lance Leipold announced that backup running back Torrey Laughlin and backup quarterback Miles Kendrick are both out for the rest of the season after they were both carted off the field with lower leg injuries. Starting quarterback Jason Bean left in the second quarter after hurting his wrist, and his status for this upcoming game is questionable. It was third-string QB Jalen Daniels who came in and helped score KU's lone touchdown on a fourth down pass to Kwame Lassiter. Running back Devin Neal finished with 62 rush yards, but the rushing attack from K-State's Deuce Vaughn was too much for Kansas as he finished with 162 yards and 3 touchdowns. Kansas fell 35-10 to bring their record to 1-8. They will travel to face the Texas Longhorns this Saturday. Finally, the high school football playoffs are in full swing, and after 2 rounds, both schools in Lawrence are still alive. Lawrence High School and Free State High School picked up big road wins in the regionals, as they are now 2 of the final 8 teams in 6A. Free State defeated Topeka's Washburn Rural 42-10, and Lawrence High School beat Junction City 38-21. This Friday is only going to get tougher, as Free State will travel to face undefeated Derby, and Lawrence will play at Manhattan, who boasts a 9-1 record. If they both pull off upset wins, they will face each other for a shot at the state title game. After the break, Camden Fogo will bring you news and highlights of last week's NFL action. Stay with us.
Welcome back to KUJH News. I'm Camden Fogo. Controversy sparked across the NFL after Aaron Rodgers tested positive for COVID-19 last week. Rodgers confirmed that he was not vaccinated for COVID-19 despite saying in August he was immunized. After his positive test, Rodgers said he did not get vaccinated for multiple reasons, including being allergic to an ingredient in the Pfizer and Moderna vaccine. Rodgers was out of Sunday's game against the Chiefs, where Jordan Love had his first career start. It was a very low-scoring game with a lot of special teams mistakes. Down 7-0, Packers' Mason Crosby's field goal was blocked in the second quarter. The Packers' first touchdown did not happen until the last 5 minutes of the game. The Packers fell to the Chiefs 13-7. The Broncos beat the now 6-2 Cowboys Sunday afternoon 30-16. The Cowboys went scoreless, going down as much as 30-0 before 2 consecutive touchdowns in the last 5 minutes. This came as a shock since the Cowboys have not lost a game since Week 1. Dak Prescott had his first return since Week 6 after being out for a calf strain. Odell Beckham Jr. was released from the Browns Monday. The Browns must pay Beckham just over $4 million, and he is eligible to sign with any team. Beckham is considering the Chiefs, the Packers, the Saints as potential teams. The Raiders waived Damon Arnett after video surfaced of Arnett making death threats while holding firearms on social media. Raiders general manager Mike Mayock spoke on the subject on a conference call.
There have been a series of bad decisions over the last year or so, but we cannot stand for the video of Damon with a gun threatening to take a life. The content was unacceptable.
Welcome back. We apologize for technical difficulties earlier in the show. We're actually going back live to Emily Johnson now to learn more about the dangers of driving at dusk during the season. Emily?
Romance is in the air, and no, it's not February just yet. It's deer breeding season. This means that driving at certain times of the day may be more dangerous. Now that the days are colder and darker with winter approaching, deer become more active as they look for a mate. Douglas County has already seen 40 deer-related accidents in just the last month. George Diepenbrock, PIO for the Douglas County Sheriff's Office, said to
Is Emily doing a live outro
I
after?
just encourage everybody to be careful, especially early in the morning
or in the evening now that it gets so dark around 4 or 5. Just watch out, and especially if you're on a highway, to be on the lookout for deer, kind of those eyes that come out.
Deer-related accidents typically occur near wooded areas and on highways where people are traveling at high rates of speed. Nick Gusti knows this all too well from personal experience.
And it just jumped the median, just right into the middle of the car. I didn't even have time to slow down. It just jumped straight in, totaled my car, shattered my windshield. The car went spinning out. It was pretty bad.
Last year, 4 people died and nearly 500 people were injured in deer-related crashes, according to the Kansas DOT.
If you happen to encounter a deer, make sure to keep your steering wheel straight and do not swerve. Reporting live for KUJH, I'm Emily Johnson. Ride and dry.
That's all for KUJH this week. Be sure to tune in every Wednesday at 4 p.m. for KUJH News. Follow our socials on Twitter at KUJH_KU and our Instagram at KUJH News. I'm Ryan Butler.
And I'm Dre Bradley. Have a great evening.